Okay, ready?
Yep.
I just don't want to be standing there. Okay, we're live.
I just see your shirt.
Shall I change the... Oh, yes. Went live very early. Do you think we should start speaking?
Yes. I've skipped the ad.
Hello everybody. I do apologise for that delay. We had an audio problem. In other words, a problem with the sound that was not coming through, and I see that it is coming through but possibly isn't loud enough. I shall raise the level slightly.
I've also asked everyone on chat. We've done very well setting this up. No sound. Oh goodness.
No sound. There must be sound. There's no sound at all.
No, there is.
No, there is sound. There we go. 1, 2, 1,
It's
2.
very soft though, apparently.
Yes. Oh, you know why? No, it's still coming through there. I mean, we did a whole test on this. Oh, I know why. 1, 2. Sorry everyone, we'll be with you in a sec. Advanced audio properties. Mic Orgs. Put it up a bit. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, everyone says it's fine.
Okay.
And then someone says it's not. So it's very low volume.
1,
I'm
2.
gonna listen here.
No, it's not working. 1. Sorry everyone.
Thank you, Leopard Lover, for saying you like my leopard jersey. It's new. It's from Woolworths if you're in South Africa. If you're not, I'm sorry.
It's maxed out on the camera. You know why? It's coming.
Through the computer.
I think it's going through the computer.
Oh, well.
Alright, why don't you talk very loudly? We will talk as loudly as possible. Hello, and we are very sorry that this has taken so long. Was it this mic? It's this one. Hello, how's that? Is that a bit better?
We're also
There
very
we go.
yellow.
We're not
But
that yellow.
Let's leave it.
You red.
I look like I'm sunburnt. But
Yes, you do.
Anyways.
Sorry everyone, we really did a full test of this. It worked beautifully beforehand, and now it is an almighty, well, you know what they say.
Everyone's saying it's loud enough now.
Now we have our special microphone, which I shall hold here. Oh, look at us. It looks
Thank
a
you,
little
Jason.
it looks a little bit like we have been stuck in the desert or drinking heavily for many years. Anyway, sorry about that, everyone. The idea behind this is that we have a little chat about mana pools and anything else you want to chat about to us. I'm not sure what else you would like to chat to us about, but mana pools is probably your best bet. Okay, any questions so far?
Everyone is saying sound is very good. So nice, very good. I saw a question or comment. Bren, are you working on another book?
Hello, Bren. Yes, I am working on another book. In fact, that's taking up most of my time currently. I have to hand the manuscript in on the 1st of March, which is, well, not too far around the corner. And so I'm doing my writing during the course of the days, which is actually a very pleasurable way to spend one's days. It'll probably only then come out in September,
Thank you,
in
Sue.
time for Christmas. Thank you very much, Sue. Thank you, all of you who are being so generous to us.
Yes.
We do appreciate it enormously.
M. Ruth said, asks, what was your favourite sighting in Mana?
I think you've just seen it for me, Ruth. You know, being on foot with wild dogs was extremely special. And as I've perhaps mentioned, I think I have mentioned, I've certainly written, you know, Mana Pools is unique in so much as you're allowed to walk. You pay $15 to an official at the headquarters, and he says to you, well, be careful, and off you go. He doesn't ask if you've ever walked in the bush before. He doesn't ask if you've ever seen an elephant before. So you could be from Sweden, having never seen an elephant or lion or wild dog in your life before, and they say, would you like a walking permit? And you say, oh, well, yes, I'll take a walking permit. And off you go. That was my Swedish accent. And off you go into the wilderness with absolutely no clue. And people die there from time to time. But if you know what you're doing, it's just the most amazing freedom to have. I don't know of any other national park in Africa where it's possible. So that was really very special indeed to be able to do. And to then spend time with those dogs on foot was, magic. And of course the animals are used to it.
Yeah. But we struggled to find those wild dogs. That's just me. You can continue now.
We did struggle to find the wild dogs, and I mean, there's that wonderful photographer Jens Kuhlmann, who I'm sure many of you will follow on Instagram. If you don't, you should. Jens Kuhlmann, Jens, and Jens spends 3 or 4 months a year in Mana pools, and he gets amazing wild dog shots. He gets amazing shots of everything. But you know, when they're there, he'll see them a lot, but they're not always there.
Yeah. Another question.
Thank
We've got
you,
so many
James.
questions. Thank you everyone for your questions. I'll try to get through them all. I'm gonna stay on minor questions for now, and then we can go back to general.
Andrew, I'm not going to play the guitar tonight. I am holding the microphone and drinking heavily.
Bonnie, would the wild dogs bite you?
Bonnie, no, the wild dogs wouldn't bite us. They would almost certainly run away. What they did when we walked up to them was they did that sort of alarm call that they give. They give a little slight bark and then they go, oh, oh. It's a very strange sound. And that was it. And then we didn't go any closer. We were about, what did we decide, 30 meters away from them. They were perfectly happy for us to be there. And they're afraid of us, so they wouldn't try and bite you. It's really not like approaching a Doberman Pinscher or the Alsatian that is barking at you. It's not like that, because you know that dog's obviously been trained to guard and will be much more aggressive towards a human being, whereas these dogs try and avoid conflict, so they would back off.
This is a good story. That's why Ubombo wants to know, did the aggressive baboon ever show up in Macheni camp?
Oh, Ubombo girl, yes, the aggressive baboon most certainly did show up, much to my mother-in-law's chagrin. She was standing fixing something in the car and thought that her presence would deter the advance of a baboon, and she was doing something or other in the back seat, and she had the boot open.
Yeah.
Or she
was in the boot.
She had the back seat open.
Yeah.
She was doing something in the boot, and she looked up, and there the baboon was sitting in the back seat. Now my mother-in-law is a tall woman. She's what, 6 foot? She is 6 foot, and she's not afraid, and I mean she's got muscle. She took the pan that we had, and she wanged this baboon, bang! Excuse the sound there, bang! Over the head, and the pan bent, and the baboon sort of apparently shook its head, and then just looked at her like this, at which point she screamed, and my father-in-law came running, and the baboon decided 2 of them was too many, and he absconded. But yes, he was around all the time, and he certainly looked like he was bent on no good.
But they weren't as bad as the vervet monkeys. No. The vervet monkeys were naughty.
The monkeys at Nyamepi were a nightmare.
They took all our rusks.
Yeah.
1 thing of cheese.
Yes. And in fact, they are so bad that when we had finished our shopping, the guy who from manapools.com, from whom we hired the car and who hosted us in Zimbabwe, a very nice operation, they said to us, you need to take 2 extra days food because you're going to lose at least 2 days of food to the primates. We didn't, but that's what they recommended.
We had no rusks at the end.
We had no rusks, yes.
It's very sad. Jana wants to know how many episodes left. We've got 1 more after this.
Jana, we've got 1 more left. We've actually been having quite an interesting discussion about it over the course of the week, my good wife and I, who's now become something of a social media expert. And what's fascinating is that obviously you want as many viewers to watch these things as possible, because that, for a number of reasons, the more people that watch your episodes, the more they are recommended to other people, and obviously the more subscribers you get, and that's very helpful
going forward to make more series.
Yeah, it's very helpful going forward to make more series. But what we've noticed with all of our series is that 1, 2, and 3 do okay, and this, I mean, the first one and the second one in this particular series did really well for us, and then things start to drop off. And so I think that the sweet spot, Jenna, is probably around 3 or 4 episodes and then a break before you try and do it again. And our Botswana one was 13 episodes long, and by the end of it, the 13th episode was definitely the best episode. It had the best wildlife footage. I think that the colors and the music and everything about it was our best episode, and it got far fewer views than any of the others. So yeah, we're going to do 6 for this one, but the 6th one will probably only come out in about 3 weeks' time, because we won't be around in the next 2 weeks. Yes?
I was going to post it next week.
But we've discussed this.
We'll discuss this
This is
afterwards.
what happens when you live with a millennial.
Well, you can tell us if you want it. Well, everyone who's watching will
Everyone
watch.
here
Yeah.
watching it, yes.
Okay, wait, I've got to go up. Coast Cider, does the Zambezi River flow year round?
Yeah, coast side of the Zambezi is a massive, massive river, and it does flow all year round, unless there's an extreme drought. And I remember it must have been around about 2000 and maybe 99, somewhere around there. Victoria Falls stopped falling. It was just a cliff, and there was no water falling over the Victoria Falls. So that's extremely unusual. But the Zambezi down from Kariba Dam, where we were, I suspect kept flowing, because they have to release water to run the hydroelectric scheme from Kariba Dam. So where we were, absolutely it does flow year round, I think, regardless, unless the dam runs out of water, which is highly unlikely.
And then Carol was asking about the floods. We did see
Oh,
pictures
yeah.
on Twitter. I don't know if that was you, Carol, that posted them, or another Carol, but yes, we saw the bridge breaking, which was
Yeah.
horrible.
Some big floods in Mana Pools. Not unusual. You can't go there now. You're not allowed to go there now. The season starts sort of the end of March and goes through to November. So it's really not a place you want to be when it's raining. Difficult to get in and out. And one of the bridges that we crossed, we used many times actually, has washed away. The sort of shallow rivers that run through Mana Pools that you wouldn't actually notice almost as rivers when you're there in the dry season, unless you're looking carefully.
Leopard Lover, did you find all the water closets to be above board during the entire
Oh,
trip?
Leopard Lover, the worst water closet
We
that
only
we
had
saw.
one.
Well, we did 2. The one at Mocheni and the one at Nyamepe.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was
The one at
toilet. I
Mocheni
didn't use it.
wasn't so much a water closet as a hole in the ground, and in fact I did use it, and I spent a very pleasant 10 minutes there, maybe 20 minutes actually, reading and just generally absorbing the atmosphere.
Judy H wants to know, does the $15 go to a life insurance policy when walking?
Yeah. Judy H, the $15 that you pay, I'm not sure what it's for your walking permit. And it's $15 if you're South African. If you're Zimbabwean, it's only $10. And so I had to pay $15, which I thought was very unreasonable. And I don't know where it goes. They're normally quite surprised when you say you'd like to walk, but there's absolutely no problem with it. And in fact, there was somebody killed the week before we got there. And we thought it would be quite difficult to get a walking permit. We thought they'd be a bit skittish. Nope, didn't bug them. Which I think is quite nice, really. It's you take your chances. We trust you as an adult human being to behave like an adult, and if you don't, well, that's your problem. And I guess you can't get sued, really, in Zimbabwe. Good luck trying to put that one through the courts there.
Dust and Diesel Overlanding says, beautiful episode, curious about actually getting into minor pools from South Africa, about border crossing.
Dust and Diesel, I do know that it has been difficult in the last little while getting into Zim. I know that there have been issues at Bite Bridge, which is the main Zim crossing point. Most people go through Botswana, around the top, through Vic Falls, and then into Mana Pools. Quite a long, arduous drive. We flew into Harare, which we thought was very clever, and from there we drove. That's the way to do it. We were going to try, it would be very nice to do, the ideal trip would be to go fly into Victoria Falls, unless you're a bit mad keen birder, because there's pretty good birding in Harare, actually, interestingly. But you can fly into Vic Falls, enjoy Vic Falls, and then drive to Kariba, catch an overnight ferry over Kariba, which would just be spectacular, and then drive the rest of the way to Mana Pools. And I think that would be the ultimate way to do it.
Yeah.
But at the moment, with the ferry is hardly ever running, and the roads between Victoria Falls and Mana Pools are quite tricky, I think the best way to do it is to fly into Harare and then drive from there.
But if you have your own overlanding vehicle.
If you've got your own overlander, then you need to go in through Bots, I think. I don't know what Bite Bridge is like now. I know that when we were on our way there, it was a nightmare.
Yeah, they were having strikes, so no one could get through. Yeah. Judy Ditchfield, did you see any crocs at the camps? Oof.
Judy, we did see crocs, and not that we ever felt threatened by them, because they were always in the river or in some of the pools. But we've never seen so many crocodiles. Every little patch of water had a crocodile in it, and some of the drying out sort of ponds had crocodiles in them all. And that one, was Long Pool? Was it Long Pool? I don't remember. One of the pools that we frequent often, go down and check what's going on there, had hundreds of crocodiles in it.
Long Pool.
You don't want to put your baby toe into even a glass full of water there. Yeah, I used to check my glass at night for evidence of crocodiles. There were lots and lots and lots of crocodiles there.
We did have so many nice hippo sightings where at night the hippos would come out and walk past the camp, and they were so... I wouldn't want to be walking next to one, but they were very friendly from a distance.
Were they?
Well, I thought so.
Well, they were there. They were certainly used to having people on the banks of the river with them, I guess.
The one night we were having dinner right by a hippo path, and we didn't realize it, and the hippo just made a huge splash in the water to kind of tell us that he wanted to come out, so we moved the table and then he came out, which I thought was very polite of him.
It was very polite and friendly, as you say.
Yes. Friendly hippos there. I wouldn't want to go touch one though.
They have had people knocked out of canoes by hippos and by big crocodiles, and apparently this may be sort of legend, but what they do is every so often, one of the operators who's been there for longer than the Zambezi's been there, every 10 years or so he shoots all the big crocodiles, because they get to such a size that he cannot any longer safely canoe his guests up and down the river because they get so big. And he lost a guest, knocked him. It took the guest off the back of the canoe. So there are lots of crocodiles there. Not a nice way to go, that, I wouldn't say.
Okay, sorry, I went down and now I'm going up again.
With COVID, is it tough to see places such as Victoria Falls? Cheryl, no, it's really not. You do need to just make a few contingency plans. Make sure you tested when you go in. Zimbabwe was very efficient on both sides, going in and going out with the PCR tests. We had to do a PCR test before we left, and it was exactly like traveling to the States, basically, exactly the same. And all of the hotels are set up for it. There are lots of very sharp businessmen, and by sharp I just mean efficient business people who have set up testing facilities or collection for tests and you can do it very easily. It really is actually it's such a non-event now, other than, of course, having your brain impaled. But other than that, it's really not a problem.
Jenna, will you ever host a safari for guests there?
Jenna, absolutely. I'd love to host a safari for guests there. Hint, hint. If anybody would like to go to Mana Pools with us or with me, depending on whether my wife is working to keep me in the manner to which I've become accustomed, let us know. Send us a message to info@jameshendry.co.za and let's see what we can plan. It would be great fun. I am not going to suggest that I guide you camping unless you really have a good sense of humour. In which case,
you want to go to that toilet?
Yeah, in which case I'm more than happy to do it. But there's lots of really nice camps in the area. You don't have to live like we lived. It is great fun. It's hilarious. It can be trying on the emotions and the marriage.
And hot.
And it's very hot, but it is magnificent. And yeah, I mean, there are lots of beautiful camps there, though, with great facilities, and you see all the same stuff. So
and lots of nice, like, glamping.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes.
With nice toilets, but intense, so you feel like you are still
so
camping.
the guy who took us into the wild dogs is a chap called Steve Bolnick, and Steve has run a camp there called Camp Mana for ever and a day. And he, he's right on the river.
It's beautiful.
But lovely sort of tents where, you open the flap of your tent and you're staring out over the river in towards the Zambian side. And that's the ideal kind of situation if you don't want to do what we were doing, if you don't want to overland and use the loo at Mucheni.
James Richard, was there anything on your wish list that you wanted to see at Mana Pools but you didn't have the opportunity to?
I feel we didn't see enough lions.
Yeah.
We did see lions, but
next episode you'll see.
We didn't see many of them, and yeah, I would have liked to have spent some time with lions. I think we would have also liked to have spent more time with the dogs. We only had that one sighting of the dogs, and really to spend time on foot with wild dogs was one of the major reasons I went there. And we did get that, but I could do it for weeks. I could, and I really wanted to follow them on the hunt. And I mean, the camera I had was probably a little heavy to try and keep up with them, but to follow them on the hunt, watch them feeding on foot, and then kind of playing afterwards would have been spectacular.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I think we did get just about everything we wanted to see. Yeah.
We were very unlucky, if you call seeing kills unlucky, in Chitaki.
Yeah. No, we didn't do well there. Chitaki is 60 kilometers away from Mana Pools, and it's where we shot episodes 1 and 2. And there, just to recap, there's a little spring of water, and it's the only water for miles and miles around. And
it's
the
also
buffalo,
the hottest place on earth.
Yeah, it is the hottest place on earth. Not really, but it feels like it.
Oof.
And the buffalo come down every single day to drink, and they have to. And the lions know that they do, and they just take these poor buffalo out almost on a daily basis. Except the 2 days that we were there. Then they didn't kill any buffalo.
No. And
But
then
we
the
did
day
see
after
nice
they
buffalo.
killed 7 buffalo.
That's right. The day after they killed 7 buffalo, and
In
when
one day.
Jens Kalman went, if you follow him on Instagram, you'll see exactly what the buffalo do and the kind of photography angles you can get there. Again, it's all on foot. When we got there, we could sort of see the lions, and we were sort of in our cars, and we didn't really know what the form was, and someone pulled up, a Zimbabwean farmer pulled up, leapt out of his car with his camera and just ran down the river towards the lions. And I thought,
we couldn't believe it.
what manner of cowboy is this fool that we're going to have to deal with? And the lion, he hadn't seen one of the lions, and it got up and ran away across the river, and I just thought, these guys are absolutely insane. They don't know what they're doing. And of course, they've all been coming to this place for years and years and years, and by the end of it, they had taught us exactly what to do. They're all very friendly. All of the Zimbabweans we met were
nicest people.
amazingly friendly. Anyway, they had taken us in hand, and we'd got over ourselves, and well, I'd got over myself, and we were down on the river as these buffalo came down. We were sort of 30 meters from lions on foot.
It's the most magical place. It's
You do
beautiful.
need to be careful. As I say, people do die there, but it's a magical, magical place to be, and nowhere else that I know of will you have photographic opportunities like that.
Yeah. We didn't film this part, but we were sitting by ourselves. Everyone had left because it was hot, and we were just dying to get lions. And we're sitting there, and there was nothing there. And remember, we just heard this lion growling at us.
Yes.
And I was so scared. I said, I want to go home. I want to
That's
go back
right,
to
yeah.
camp. Because there was a lion that had two young cubs around the corner that people had warned us about. And I'm pretty sure that was her. And we're sitting by the spring. I was ready to go.
I was wearing slip-slops, as was my wife, and I didn't feel that we could abscond very quickly. So we stayed, but didn't see her.
No.
And we didn't see her killing a buffalo,
Or us.
which was very nice for the buffalo.
Yeah.
The buffalo were not sad about our time at Chitaki.
Kay said, I thought I saw a collar on the dog. If so, who's tracking them? I've forgotten who
Yeah,
it was though.
Kay, I don't know exactly who it is.
Painted.
It's a.
Painted.
It is painted wolf.
It's painted dog.
Painted dog.
It's the Zimbabwean painted dog conservation.
Yeah.
That's who it is. Yeah.
Painted dog conservation.
Really nice.
Very nice people. That is, I would say, one disappointment at Mana Pools is that there are a lot of animals being researched, which means that they've got these collars on them. And the dog pack has got 3 adults collared, one with a GPS, one with just a telemetry collar, and one with some sort of combo
Yeah.
or other.
And the one where they have the like an
Antenna?
antenna, isn't that also for it helps dogs not with if they get caught on snares. It's an anti-snare.
Oh, that's right. There is an
thing.
anti-snare thing they put on the collars. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there are probably 5 or 6 elephant bulls that have got collars. Didn't one of the lionesses have a collar?
Mm.
One of
No.
the lionesses had a collar. One of the lionesses at Chitaki had a collar. So a lot of research going on there.
Judy Ditchfield, what are most of the fatalities at Mana Pools caused by elephants?
Elephants, yeah. It's people taking chances with elephants. The guy who was killed the week before we got there was killed by a herd of elephants. Yeah. And he'd been going for a long time, so, experience. Not always Swedish tourists who are killed by elephants.
Janice, is fuel I'm sorry, Janice.
Janice.
Is fuel easily available in Zim?
No. Yes, no. We didn't have an issue with it. But what the Camp Mana, manapools.com said to us, Anthony from there gave us a phone with a Zim SIM card in it, and there were numbers in that phone for every town we went through, and he had made personal contact with somebody in that town that should their pumps run dry, those people would be able to bring us or help us to get fuel. And we didn't actually have an issue. He said he didn't think we'd have an issue, and we didn't. And we went through 3 towns, and we filled up each time, just topped up. And then we didn't need it. And we carried, not a lot, we carried a little bit of fuel with us, but we didn't actually need any extra. All the towns had fuel, but there is a risk that they don't. Yeah, so it's good to have a contact. And it's also very good to have a contact because the official and black market exchange rates between the US dollar and the Zimbabwean dollar, which is basically like monopoly money, are very different. And the official rate was of 180 or so Zimbabwean dollars to the US dollar, and on the black market you can get it for around 80 when we were there. Which means that if you're not a Zimbabwean and you don't know what you're doing and you don't know where you are and you don't know who to talk to, you are paying more than double what you would in South Africa for things like fuel and for food. So
It's very confusing.
it was very useful. In fact, if we hadn't gone with manapools.com, it would have been very, very difficult indeed.
Sorry, I'm now trying to catch up. I'm seeing a lot of questions about Malawi. Mike was asking if we've been to Malawi or would we go.
Mike would love to
Definitely
go
on
to
the list.
Malawi. We
Yeah.
really would love to go to. We're chatting to people in Uganda at the moment about a possible trip there to see some gorillas. But yeah, as yet, no dates. But that would be great. There's one from Nick Taylor.
That's
And Malawi, certainly I would love to go to Malawi. I haven't been there.
Nick Taylor. Have there been developments in the proposed mining concession in Mana and across the river in Zambia?
So, Nick, you're talking about the Lower Zambezi National Park. They were planning on mining there. And I know that the current president, the new president, was very much against it, but I don't know if there's been a change. At the end of October or so last year, that mine in Lower Zambezi National Park was going to go ahead. And this was despite all sorts of recommendations to the contrary. They were going to mine in the national park. And I know that the new president is not keen on it, and they're hoping that he'll cancel it, but I don't know at the moment.
Is your hand getting tired?
No?
Okay, just checking. I saw people asking about is Zim safe and was it...
Zimbabwe was
Fine.
completely safe. We didn't feel threatened at all at any stage. The people, like I say, were universally friendly. I think they're so grateful to have tourists back in the country. I think they're so grateful to have Forex in the country that really no one is taking chances. The most dangerous thing in Zimbabwe is the driving in Harare. A lot of the traffic lights don't work, and they don't operate like a four-way stop. They operate with a sort of culture of their own that you need to understand, or you will get a ding in your car. People operate pretty slowly, but you'll get a ding in your car. That was relatively dangerous. And the roads themselves to Mana Pools were fairly hairy because it's the main artery into Zambia, and there are a lot of copper trucks from the copper mines in Zambia coming back out and on their way to South Africa, and there are a lot of supply trucks going up into Zambia, and the roads are narrow. There's no shoulder, and so it can be quite hairy. You need to be very awake and very aware, and yeah. So that was the most dangerous part of it. But the people were wonderful. You used to hear about police roadblocks and police soliciting bribes for not having the right color T-shirt on while you're driving the car, that sort of thing. None of that we experienced. It really was totally smooth from that perspective.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't say it was dangerous. Even Harare, and you must understand that Zimbabwe is a place of extreme poverty, given what's happened there. The places in Harare have security, but nothing like the security they have in Johannesburg. So yeah, I don't think it's a particularly dangerous place at all.
Deborah, if you were going to do a trip to and include Mana Pools again, would you include any other different locations?
Deborah would love to do, you mean in Zimbabwe?
Well, I think maybe if you did a safari or if we did a trip, I don't know. Let's say if you did a trip.
If I guided a trip, I think I would include Victoria Falls. You have to. Probably Kariba, and then depending on the length of the trip, Hwange National Park as well. Well, there's sort of a wide band in the north of the country. You could easily combine it with Zambian locations as well, but then you got to cross the border, and it depends on who you're traveling with.
Lots of people are asking about Wild Earth and if you're going back and how life is after Wild Earth.
I've told Wild Earth that I'm available, so we'll see. It would be very nice to do. I don't mean available full time. It would be very nice to do a few week stints there, but that's really the ball's firmly in their court at the moment. We'll see what happens.
Reptilian Research, I haven't heard that name in so long. Hello, Reptilian Research.
Oh, yes.
Are drones allowed at Mana Pools?
Reptilian research, no, they're not allowed there. In fact, they're not allowed in any national parks that we've been to, but that has not stopped some people that we follow on YouTube using drones in these areas and getting beautiful shots from their drones. But no, they're not allowed there. And in fact, especially if you're flying into the country, you don't bring a drone in because you won't leave the airport with it. Yeah.
Jenna, how many camps are in Monpools?
Jenna, in the national park itself, formal camps, I think there are four sort of formal camps, and then there's the two campsites where the public can stay, and there's a BBC campsite. BBC has a permanent camp there, although I think they just left by the time we got there. And then there are also national park chalets, which are fairly run down, but in beautiful positions, and in fact cheaper than the campsites, which we found very interesting. But then around Mana Pools National Park, there are a number of other wildlife areas that have camps in them. African Bush Camps runs a lot of those camps. Wilderness Safaris runs camps there, and a few other private operators.
Julie, what would you tell someone who thinks it's not safe to travel to South Africa?
Julie, that's a really good question. What do I tell people who think it's not safe to travel to South Africa? I tell them that it is safe to travel to South Africa. I'll tell you an astonishing story. I had some guests come out here last year, and two of them, in fact, caught an Uber from their airport hotel into a place called Hillbrow in Johannesburg. Now, I would have considered this a suicidal event, a suicidal activity, and they decided to walk the street markets, which are normally frequented by Nigerian drug lords. That's basically what Hillbrow is for. It's an extremely dangerous part of town. I don't go there. There are police that don't go there, but they went there and they were safe. I don't think anybody coming here should do that. But if you come to South Africa and you're going on a safari and you've booked a trip, say, to Cape Town and for a safari, it's perfectly safe. There are parts of South Africa you don't go, unless you happen to be this person who ended up in Hillbrow. But other than that person, there are parts of Johannesburg you don't go, there are parts of Cape Town you don't go, but in the reserves it's entirely safe. The places where tourists stay in Cape Town are entirely safe. So yeah, no, it's a safe place to come. If you're going to come and you're going to drive on your own and self-guide yourself around the country, you can do it, but do your research. And then, yeah, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah. I'm going up now, sorry. Distracted by reading everyone's chat. Raphael, where would your first trip out of Africa be if we're doing a series or something like that?
Raphael, I think that, what do you would think? Where would you like to go?
Out of Africa?
Yeah. There are three places I want to go. You go first then.
I can't think now. You're putting me on the spot.
The world is big.
I know. But it's Borneo.
Borneo?
Are we talking about we're obviously talking about wildlife.
We're not talking about quaffing Chianti somewhere in Italy.
Okay, Borneo. I'd love to do Yellowstone.
Yes, that wasn't one that I thought of, yeah.
And somewhere in South America. Pantanal.
For me, it would be jaguars in the Pantanal. It would be Borneo and everything that's in Borneo, and India. I've been to India twice, but there's something about India that is deeply, deeply appealing to me. I've been twice. I'd go again in a heartbeat. The national parks there, I've only been to 2 of them, and I'd really like to go to a lot more of them and spend some proper time there. And really, I think you need to spend a lot of time there to get into the system and, really, I don't know, not infiltrate the system, but really understand the system And, to do a trip like this there would be spectacular. I've got a friend who's hopefully going, he's probably going to have to put it off to next year because of COVID, but who's supposed to be going at the end of February, and they're going to go and track tigers on foot, which people don't do anymore. They must have in the past, but they don't do it anymore. And it's a chap called Alex van den Heever, who many of you who I know will recognize the name. And he and his partner Renius and Tlongo are going across to track tigers in India. That'll be an experience. So India, Pantanal, Borneo, and yes, wolves. Wolves in Yellowstone would be spectacular.
But I think Borneo would be my first.
Yeah.
Just because I want to see orangutans.
Orangutans would be magnificent.
I can relate to them.
What she means by that is not her tree climbing ability, but this orangutanous hair. Freshly washed. Just for this show, actually.
Now I'm going up, sorry.
And she's got a new jersey.
Yes, we've spoken on it.
Have we?
Yes. Now I'm panicking because I'm trying to find something. Everyone's saying yes, Pantanal, yes, India.
Suzanne, you say, why not come and explore the Northern Hemisphere? Finland, for example. I'd love to come to Finland. Definitely not in the winter. I would not be able to cope with that. And I would obviously have to do it with a guide who could find me some wildlife. But yes, absolutely. Why not? I've been to Russia to look for tigers. Didn't find any tigers. Couldn't see for about a month after I got back for the amount of vodka I had to consume at every meeting.
Thank you for all my jersey compliments. I like it too.
Thank you, everybody, for complimenting
Is
the New
Monopole the
Jersey.
same as Gonorrhea Zoo
Oh.
area?
No, Monopools is not the same as Gonorrhea Zoo. It's in a totally different part of the country. Monopools is on the northern border. Gonorrhea Zoo is way down towards the south, actually on the northern boundary of the Kruger National Park, pretty much. So it's sort of far southeast corner. Yes, southeast.
Wildabout Safari, were there any leopards in Monopools?
Wildabout Safari, there was a leopard in Monopools. We didn't see it. We drove past an area, turned around, came back, and everyone said, "Did you see the leopard that came running past as you left?" And we didn't see the leopard that came running past as we left because we had left. Anyway.
Judy Ditchfield asks if we've been to Rwanda.
Judy, we haven't been to Rwanda. We would love to go to Rwanda. It's insanely expensive to go to Rwanda. You can do it now relatively cheaply if you drive yourself, and you can get a pretty good permit for gorillas at the moment because of COVID. And they're normally $1,500 for one permit per person. Now it's about $750 or $500 to $750, but that'll go up again as COVID clears. But we'd love to go to Rwanda. Anybody want to send us to Rwanda? We'll go. We really will. We'll go.
Jenna said she would love to see polar bears. So would I.
Jenna also, yes, good point. Bears. Yes, bears, Yellowstone, bears, polar bears. Very nice. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
My wine is
everybody.
finished, so.
This is wonderful that so many of you have stayed to talk to us, and much appreciated. Hopefully we'll see you again on Wild Earth. We might be lucky there. Otherwise, we will do another one of these.
We'll do another one, yeah. We'll do it if you want one.
Yeah.
Why not?
We'll do
You might
one.
be sick of us.
We'll do one after our 6th episode once we've discussed when that's going to be. Okay. And if you want to book a safari, send your details to info@jameshendry.co.za. Tell me where you want to go, and let's go. Okay. It's getting awkward now. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very much for joining us. See ya. I'm just going to leave you hanging there, I think.